My name is Christopher Gunawitchett, and today I'll be telling you about how following safety and regulations when handling fuel is not optional. Alright, so recently in April of 2026, a fuel tanker exploded near the Panama Canal, killing one person and ended up injuring several others. And that's not an isolated incident. Fuel-related accidents continue to happen around the world and often with serious consequences. The reality is, most of these situations are preventable. So today, I'm going to argue that strict adherence to fuel handling, regulations, and continuous safety awareness should be treated as mission critical, not optional, because the risk of complacency are just way too high. Even though there are clear procedures in place, incidents still continue to happen. A lot of the time, it's not because people don't know the rules, it's because complacency, shortcuts, and lack of attention to detail. When something starts to become routine, it's easy to stop seeing it as dangerous. But with fuel, that mindset is exactly what leads to these accidents. We already talked about the Panama Canal explosion. Even though the cause is still under investigation, incidents like that are often tied to breakdowns in safety procedures. And another example, in 2025, a fuel tanker explosion in Nigeria killed over 100 people after fuel vapors ignited. That situation escalated because proper control and safety awareness weren't in place. These examples show that the danger isn't theoretical, it's very real, and happens when safety is not taken seriously. For people working around fuel, especially in aviation or military, the consequences go beyond just one incident. A single mistake can injure or kill personnel, damage critical equipment, and completely shut down the operation. In environments where fuel supports aircraft or mission systems, even a small issue can have a ripple effect, and it impacts readiness. It's not just about the immediate danger, it's about everything that depends on that fuel being handled correctly. And on top of that, fuel spills or fires can cause long-term environmental damage, affecting generations that affect the areas around it long before the incident is over. So when we talk about safety, we're not just talking about following procedures. We're talking about protecting people, myself, yourself, everyone we know. We're talking about protecting equipment and the ability to maintain and the ability to operate. And speaking from experience, working around fuel every day, it's easy to see how quickly things can become a routine. You do the same tasks, you follow the same steps, and after a while it starts to feel repetitive. But that's exactly when you have to stay sharp, because the risk never goes away, even if the task feels familiar. That's why maintaining that level of awareness is so important. That's why fuel handling, safety and regulations compliance should be treated as mission critical at all times. Not just when inspections are happening, not just when leadership is watching, but every single time fuel is handled. To make that happen, there are a few things that need to be emphasized. One is continuous safety mindset. Safety can't just be something people think about during training or inspections. It has to be something that stays in the back of your mind during every single task, no matter how routine it feels. Because the moment something feels normal is usually when people start cutting corners. The second is consistent enforcement and accountability. Procedures only work if they're actually followed. If people start skipping steps or taking shortcuts and nothing happens, that behavior becomes normal. And over time, that's what leads to these incidents. So there has to be accountability, not just from leadership, but from everyone involved. The third is ongoing realistic training. Training shouldn't just be something that happens once and gets checked off. It should be continuous and realistic, reinforcing why procedures exist and what can happen if they're ignored. Because when people understand why, they're much more likely to take it seriously. Some people might argue that these procedures just slow things down or they make the job harder, but in reality, the time saved by cutting corners is nothing compared to the damage caused by a single incident. Safety procedures exist because something went wrong before. At the end of the day, Fuel is one of the most dangerous materials that we work with. We've seen what can happen when it's mishandled. And those situations, often preventable. That's why strict adherence to the safety procedures and regulations isn't optional. Again, it is essential. Because when it comes to fuel handling, it only takes one mistake to cause a serious consequence. That's why doing things right every time isn't just important, it is necessary. Thank you.